It's the Louisiana Conservatarian back at your service. I don't know about you, but I've been watching the news, which is kind of what I do all the time, unfortunately. And, it's just interesting kind of what's been going on here lately. We've talked a little bit about the swamp. And you know what? I think the swamp has been exposed. Don't get me started. I mean, can you believe some of the stuff that's going on in Washington these days? The Republicans, for the first time, had a legitimate chance to repeal Obamacare. Didn't do it. I don't know why. Well, I know why. It's because of the swamp. You've got these idiots there that have been voting for repeal for 7 years, and all of a sudden their true colors came out. The swamp was exposed. Now, while I wish McCain a speedy recovery and hope that he recovers from his illness, the guy voted against repealing it, as well as, I think, 6 or 7 other Republicans. They're exposing themselves, these swamp rats. They're not just Democrats, there's plenty of Republicans that are out there too. And it's not just that one issue. They had an amendment that they could vote for that would allow insurance companies to sell low-cost insurance plans. In other words, kind of catastrophic health insurance. It got voted down. I couldn't believe it. It got voted down. If people want to lower their health insurance costs, allow the insurance companies to offer a low-cost plan. But no, they've got to do something now where they're still keeping the Obamacare in place by having these mandates about what has to be covered in the plan. Why not allow the insurance companies to do what's best for their business and still helping out the customer? I couldn't believe that got voted down too. Of course, they're not talking about the selling across state lines. I know that's supposed to be part of phase 2 of the program. Now, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that, but this was a legitimate amendment for cheaper insurance plans to allow them to offer them. Nope, didn't want to do it. It's because the swamp took over. And by the way, the insurance companies are probably part of the swamp too. And then you've got other parts of the swamp being exposed. You don't hear about it a lot in the news, but the IT guy, the guy from Pakistan originally that was working for Debbie Wasserman Schultz, whatever her name is, he's been under investigation. And then they caught him trying to flee the country. He's been sending a lot of money back to Pakistan lately. Pretty interesting stuff there, and yet it's not being talked about in the news. There's talk about this guy. This wasn't what he was arrested for, but he's been under investigation for tapping into a lot of different Congress people, their emails and their private files, and possibly sharing those or stealing them. Giving him the WikiLeaks and that sort of thing. He may have been one of the people that actually broke into the DNC servers and exposed all those Podesta emails. But we don't hear anything about that. The guy was still on Wasserman Schultz's payroll until the day after he was arrested. Why wasn't he put on administrative leave or something like that? He was still employed while he was under investigation. That's a swamp. That's collusion, by the way, because I bet you little Putin is having a really grand old time right now. He must be sitting back in his chair and just having a howl, just laughing his ass off. Give me another vodka, more. These stupid Americans. He must be just having a blast, seeing the chaos that's been caused. Oh, I'm sure the Russians were involved in a bunch of stuff. Oh, here's another one you don't hear talked about. At a committee hearing, a guy was prepared to testify to talk about the fact that he had colluded with this I forgot what something 360 outfit that produced this dossier on Trump hanging out with prostitutes in Moscow. Well, you know what? They found out something very interesting. He was going to testify, but the Democrats blocked it. That the woman who was trying to get this to happen, to spread that dossier around and had commissioned this company to come up with some dirt on Trump, you know who it was? Don't tell anybody. But it was that lawyer that had the meeting with Trump Jr. and all the other campaign folks. That's right, you heard me right. Apparently she was behind a plan to come up with dirt on Trump for the Democrats. And yet all this talk about how she was at this meeting with Trump Jr. This is getting kind of interesting. Because that's where your real swamp is coming and showing its true colors. The Republicans are just as guilty. They have plenty of scumbags in them. But the Democrats, I'm telling you, some of this stuff is going to come out. The media can bury it for as long as they want. And this isn't from some, I'm not telling you stuff for some weird website that, that talks about conspiracy theories. If you look for it, you will find this information. It's straightforward. It's right out there, but it's being suppressed by the manic media. Why? Why? They're part of the swamp. That's why. The swamp has been exposed, and we need to drain it. And like I said, I'm not all 100% behind Trump, but I am behind this effort, and that's why he's facing so many problems, because the swamp is pretty doggone powerful. We've got to go after it, and got to go after it now. I told you to don't get me started, and I could go on forever, but if you want to hear more, check out my radio show on Village Connection Radio. It's called the Louisiana Conservatarian. It's a little more calm on that show, but we do deal with the real issues, and I hope you'll try and check us out and find out. But remember, the swamp's been exposed. Do your part to continue the exposure. I'm the Louisiana Conservatarian. My time's up. I thank you for yours.